It's a Minimalist Monday edition of Optimal Finance Daily, episode 1571. Best Strategy to Successfully Start a Savings Account or Emergency Fund by Andrea Joy of savingjoyfully.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. This is the show where I read to you, and to myself, frankly, from some of the best personal finance blogs on the planet every single day. We're surrounded by messages of how difficult it can be to make ends meet and build wealth. So thank you for spending this time with me where we can empower ourselves to take control of our financial health. For now, let's get right to today's post as we optimize your life. Best Strategy to Successfully Start a Savings Account or Emergency Fund by Andrea Joy of savingjoyfully.com. For many years, I struggled to build a savings account. I always thought that I just didn't have enough money. I was right, and yet I was very wrong. You see, saving money requires having money, but it also requires discipline with the money that you do have. For years, I've lived paycheck to paycheck, barely getting by. Many years spent trying so hard just to pay down debt while simply paying basic living expenses. My husband and I both had decent paying jobs, and yet for some reason, saving money never seemed possible. What I discovered about why I could not save money. My strategies always seemed to fail, and I would end up right back where I had started. Why could I never save money? I believe it's because I always saw it as impossible. I never broke it down to see that small changes over long periods are more important. If you think of this in terms of weight loss, which the concept is very similar, small lifestyle and diet changes leading to 1 pound a week after a full year would be 52 pounds. That weight loss is life-changing. Small financial choices and changes in your budget can bring about similar results. A money-saving challenge that helped change my finances. About 4 years ago, something changed when a coworker mentioned a money-saving challenge she was working on. There's nothing magical about this challenge. In fact, it still required me to save money and avoid spending it. The challenge started very small in the beginning and became almost like a game for me. You start as low as $1 a week and build slowly on that throughout the year. This was the first time I found something that worked for me because it caused me to commit to consistently save and allowed me to watch it grow without hurting my budget. I was amazed that as the year progressed, I wanted to save more. I realized that I no longer wanted to touch the money I had worked so hard to build up. I was proud of what I had saved, and I liked the feeling of security that came with having that money just in case. So why did this money-saving challenge work for me? Number 1, I found the savings challenge fun and easy. Number 2, saving money no longer hurt when I started with a small amount. Number 3, I finally saw how a savings account or emergency fund could benefit me. Number 4, after a little while, I started hating to see the money go down in my savings account. This made me no longer want to spend it on anything. Number 5, from the very first year, this savings came in handy as a cushion to get me through to the next paycheck. If money was a bit tight from one paycheck to another, I could borrow from this money instead of using a credit card or accruing fees at the bank due to a dreaded overdraft. Why I highly recommend using a money-saving challenge. Starting this savings plan and continuing it was the best thing that I've ever done for myself. With the 52-week money challenge, the result each year is $1,378 at the end of that year. My husband and I did have to dip into my savings account a few times since I started my emergency fund. This past year, we had to purchase a new vehicle when our old vehicle became too costly to repair. We used a portion to pay for a down payment on that vehicle. It was a blessing in this situation to have some money to make a down payment to help keep the costs more affordable. What starting an emergency fund has taught me. What I've learned through this experience and from starting my first emergency fund is this. A savings account or emergency fund is not only necessary, but it sets you free in many ways. When you have some savings built up, you're no longer a slave to debt. Not having to use a credit card towards unexpected expenses is such a great feeling. My final thoughts. I know saving money is hard, especially when you already feel so burdened by debt. However, if you're wanting to make a difference in your financial situation, you need to do something different for a change. Give a money saving challenge a try starting this week. 2 incredibly important steps in getting out of debt are beginning your emergency fund and starting a budget. You just listened to the post titled Best Strategy to Successfully Start a Savings Account or Emergency Fund by Andrea Joy of SavingJoyfully.com. Thank you to Gusto. I've shared some of what small business owners have said about them before, but there's actually a lot more. Here are some real people. Tom S. says, Gusto has allowed my small company to offer big-time benefits without an HR department. And that's been true for us too, actually. Here on the OLD podcast team, we feel like we have a full-time payroll and HR department that can offer benefits thanks to Gusto. Laura L. says, with Gusto, even my employees are impressed with how easy their new hire paperwork is. Also true for us here. When we switched over to Gusto, I had to do the new hire paperwork, and yes, it was a breeze, super fast, easy, and I didn't need any additional instructions or help. And here's what Brian L. says. Gusto is super simple and easy to use. I've used multiple other payroll processes, and there's nothing like this out there. And the list goes on. Right now, our listeners get 3 months free when they go to gusto.com/OFD. Yup, 3 months of payroll, benefits admin, and more. Totally free. Again, that's gusto.com/OFD. gusto.com/OFD. The key to build the habit of saving for me was a deep mindset shift. I had to reorient myself to understand the value of saving and prioritize it over spending. Saving for a rainy day might not be all that exciting at first, but over time, money in the bank offers a sense of security. It's a great feeling to know that if life throws something unexpected your way, you'll be able to handle it without digging yourself further into debt. When you're first starting out, it's helpful to have something specific that you're saving for. This can help keep your eye on the prize and provide a reward for the habit of saving, which hopefully will help solidify that habit. Over time, saving just becomes something you do, and you won't have to think about it as much. It becomes your default. I also appreciate the reminder in this article that baby steps are far superior to big leaps when it comes to saving. If you continue to put it off for when you have more money to save, you may be putting off building this habit indefinitely. There needs to be a sense of urgency around this pay yourself first habit with small amounts of money, so that as your income increases, you carry that habit with you. Something I came across recently that I wish I would have done for savings and debt reduction are trackers that you actually color in slowly over time. There are tons of free templates online that you can print and display somewhere prominent. Just Google savings coloring chart. You pick a goal, and as you slowly chip away at that goal, you color in the various milestones or progress. Actually seeing your progress outside of an Excel spreadsheet or bank statement is a great way to stay motivated. And that's a wrap for another Monday show. Have a great rest of your day and start to your week. And I'll be back tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.